Why is Bengaluru still troubled, even after spending 100 crore every day? It is around 8:30 at night. A long line of vehicles is standing on Outer Ring Road. The rain has just stopped, but water is still collected on the road. Somewhere brake lights are flashing, somewhere bike riders are trying to avoid potholes, and somewhere an IT employee sitting in a cab is worried about missing a meeting. From the outside, this looks like just another busy evening, but behind this scene hides a question that changes the story of the entire city. If so much money is being spent on Bengaluru, then why are the potholes on the roads not getting filled? Why does waterlogging happen every year? And why does traffic feel more poisonous with each passing year? The fear is whether this city is falling apart from within behind the shine of development. The curiosity is about where the money that is being spent is actually going. Bengaluru is called the IT capital of the country. This is the same city where startups are born, global companies build their large campuses, and lakhs of people come carrying dreams of career, salary, and a better future. But there is another picture of the same city as well. In this picture, there are traffic jams, dug-up roads, waterlogging, and constant complaints about basic civic services. This contradiction is what makes Bengaluru one of India's most interesting and most frustrating cities. On one side, economic power. On the other, everyday civic trouble. Recently, Janagraha, an institution that works on urban governance, gave an estimate in a report that in financial year 2022, around 38,455 crore of public spending happened on Bengaluru. If you look at it as a daily average, it comes to more than 100 crore. But the most important thing here is that this was not some clean number written in one official budget document. Janagraha had to arrive at this figure by adding together more than 70 financial documents and records of 13 public authorities. In other words, for a citizen to know how much money was spent on the city, they would have to become a detective. That itself is the first big shock in this story. Now here is a very important clarification, which often gets left out in headlines. 100 crore spent every day does not mean that today, right now, that amount is flowing out like cash every single day. This is the daily average of the annual public spending estimate for 2022. Understanding this distinction is important because many times on hearing the headline, it feels as if the city is live burning 100 crore every day. The truth is that this is the average of 1 year's total public expenditure reconstructed from the data of different agencies. But whether it is an average or an actual flow, the question still remains the same. Why does such a large spending footprint not look visible on the ground? To understand the answer to this question, first we have to see who spends on Bengaluru. The common person feels that the city corporation or municipal body must be running the whole city. But according to Janagraha's analysis, only about 20% of total public spending was going through the city government. That is, the BBMP structure of that time. The remaining nearly 80% of spending was in the hands of parastatal agencies and state departments. These include B, E, S, C, O, M, BMRCL, BWSSB, BMTC, BDA, BMRDA, and other bodies. This means the city is not running on one government machine, but on many different engines. And every engine is pulling in its own direction. This fragmentation becomes Bengaluru's biggest governance problem. Electricity is handled by one agency, water by another, bus transport by a third, metro by a fourth, roads by someone else, planning by someone else, and region-level development by yet another body. For the common citizen, the city is one. But inside the government system, it is divided into many pieces. That is why one road gets dug up by BWSSB. Restoration gets stuck with another department. Traffic police struggle with the constraints of a third agency. And the public feels that nobody is looking at the full picture. When accountability gets divided, the problem also gets scattered. The most uncomfortable part of Janagraha's report is linked to transparency. The institution said that parastatal agencies, on average, disclose only about 34% of their financial information. That means the bodies that are spending the biggest share of the city's money do not have complete information available in the public domain. Some agencies have a legal obligation to publish financial statements, but many do not. This means that the city's money is public, but its full accounting is not public. And where accounting is blurry, serious questions about performance are bound to arise. This leads to the second big question. If money is being spent, then why does Bengaluru still look so fragile? The answer is not easy, but the pattern is clear. When spending is scattered, data is incomplete, and coordination between agencies is weak, the output becomes uneven. Somewhere metro expansion is visible, somewhere heavy spending on power infrastructure is visible, but at the same time, water shortage remains in some residential pockets, footpaths stay broken in some places, and stormwater drains remain incomplete in others. The problem is not that money is not being spent at all. The problem is that the direct relationship between city-level outcomes and agency-level spending is not visible to the public. Another striking detail came out in this spending pattern. According to the News Minutes report, Janagraha's presentation said that BESCOM alone accounts for 47% of the total share. This number is very large, and it shows that Bengaluru's public expenditure is not just the story of roads and drains. Power systems are also absorbing a large share of the money. So when someone asks 100 crore is being spent every day, then why are there still potholes? The answer is also this. A very large part of that expenditure goes into sectors that are not directly visible on the road, like electricity distribution, large transport systems, utility networks, and institutional operations. But even this argument cannot completely calm public anger, because what Bengaluru's residents feel is not just perception, but everyday lived reality. Just a few days ago, near Fraser Town and Cantonment, because of pipeline work, people on Netaji Road were struggling with dust, dug-up surfaces, and commuting hazards. On the other hand, in areas like Chudasandra, residents were complaining about potholes, garbage dumping, and flooding. In other words, a city with a billion-sized economy is still fighting the battle of basic urban management on the ground in many places. This disconnect irritates people the most. Traffic is one of Bengaluru's most visible pains. According to the TomTom Traffic Index 2025, Bengaluru was ranked the second most congested city in the world. The average congestion level was recorded at 74%, and the average travel time for a 10 kilometers drive had reached 36 minutes and 9 seconds. During rush hour, the average speed remained around 14 kilometers/h. This is not just an inconvenience. It is productivity loss, fuel waste, stress, pollution, missed time, and erosion of quality of life. When a city becomes so slow that a 10-kilometer trip turns into a mini journey, citizens will naturally ask what the governance machine is actually doing. And then comes the rain. Bengaluru's rain is not a romantic postcard. Many times it becomes a stress test for the city's urban systems. Before every monsoon, deadlines are fixed for flood mitigation works. In April 2nd, 2026, the Greater Bengaluru Authority fixed an end-May deadline for flood works and even warned of suspension against engineers. This makes it clear that the administration itself accepts that flood-prone areas, drains, desilting, and coordination are serious issues for the city. If the system were working perfectly, there would be no need for such emergency-style deadline setting. The political angle of governance is also very important here. Reporting by Times of India said that the non-availability of elected representatives weakened public oversight in city governance. According to other reports, Bengaluru was run in an administration-driven mode for nearly 6 years without an elected council, and even by 2026 uncertainty over elections remained. This has a direct effect on accountability. When the local representative system remains absent for long, citizens' questions often get stuck between files, portals, and press conferences. Democracy is not just about voting, it is also about monitoring local spending. That is why Janagraha did not just point out the problem, it also suggested 3 broad fixes. First, there should be common fiscal transparency rules for all public authorities. Second, there should be a city-level consolidated public spending dashboard so that the full financial picture can be seen in one place. And third, project-level details, sector-wise and ward-wise spending data, and service outcomes should be public in machine-readable format. In simple language, the public should be able to see how much money was sanctioned for which work in which area, how much was spent, and what result came out of it. Without this transparency, the debate will always remain emotional and never become evidence-based. But there is another side to the story that needs to be understood. Not all the money being spent on Bengaluru is waste. Metro expansion, transport systems, electricity distribution, city policing, regional planning, utility operations. These are all major and necessary expenditures. The problem is not that all the money is meaningless. The problem is that public outcomes are fragmented, so the citizen does not see a coherent return on tax. If the metro is expanding, but the last mile roads are broken, if money is being spent on the power system, but road restoration is weak, if a water network project is running, but the road remains open for months, then for the citizen, development becomes an incomplete story. Bengaluru's story is special also because it is not just the story of one city, but a warning for urban India. As cities grow bigger, agencies grow too, budgets grow too, but if the governance architecture does not translate into one unified public-facing system, then the scale of spending itself turns into a negative perception against citizens. People start saying, so much money is going, then where is the work? And many times, that question is justified too. Because a modern city is not built only with flyovers, metro lines, and office towers. It is built with footpaths, drainage, traffic management, water supply, accountability, and maintenance. Just think about it. A city that is a symbol of India's digital ambition, if that same city cannot provide a clear dashboard of its public finances, then that is both irony and a governance challenge. The country learns innovation from Bengaluru, but Bengaluru's own civic model still appears stuck in many places in paperwork, fragmented authority, and delayed accountability. That is why reports like Janagraha's become headlines. Because they do not just make allegations of corruption, they question the very structure of the system. And many times, it is the structure itself that decides the outcome. In the end, the question comes back to the same point. Is the money being spent on Bengaluru going to waste? It would be wrong to say that completely. Are city-level problems continuing despite so much spending? Yes, that is also true. The real issue is not between waste and success, but between visibility and accountability. When the full map of public money is not visible to the public, when agencies together still cannot create one unified city story, then development is felt less and frustration more. Bengaluru's real battle is not just about filling potholes. Its real battle is about turning scattered spending into accountable city governance. And until that happens, headlines like 100 crore per day will keep creating only one question in people's minds. Where is all this money going? If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.